"33 years of the life of Artaban had passed away, and he was still a pilgrim and a seeker after the king. His hair, once darker than the cliffs of Zagros, was now white as the wintry snow that covered them. And his eyes that had once flashed like flame were dull as embers smoldering among the ashes.
Still looking for the king, but also worn out, weary, and ready to die, Artaban at last came to the city of Jerusalem. He had often visited the city before and had searched through all of its lanes and crowded hovels and dark prisons without finding any trace of the family of Nazarenes who had fled from Bethlehem long ago.
But now it seemed that he must make one more effort, and something whispered in his heart that at last he might just succeed.
It was the season of Passover. The city was thronged with strangers. The children of Israel, scattered in far lands all over the world, had returned to the temple for the great feast, and there had been a confusion of tongues in the narrow streets for many days.
But on this particular day, there was a singular agitation in the multitude. The sky itself was veiled with a portentous gloom, and currents of excitement seemed to flash through the crowd like the thrill which shakes the forest on the eve of a great storm.
A secret tide was sweeping them all one way. The clatter of sandals and the soft, thick sounds of thousands of bare feet shuffling over the stones, flowing unceasingly along the streets that led to the Damascus Gate.
Artaban joined company with a group of people from his own country, Parthian Jews who had come up to keep the Passover, and inquired of them the cause of the tumult and where they were going.
We are going to the place called Golgotha, outside the city walls.
Yes, there is to be an execution. A real live execution.
Have you not heard about what happened?
No, I have not. I have been traveling, you see.
Well, 2 famous robbers are to be crucified, and with them another called Jesus of Nazareth.
Jesus of Nazareth?
Yes, Jesus of Nazareth.
Who is this man?
He is a man who has done many wonderful works among the people, so that they love him greatly.
But the priests and the elders have said that he must die, because he has claimed to be the Son of God.
Yes, and Pontius Pilate has sent him to the cross, because he said that he was king of the Jews.
How strangely these familiar words fell upon the tired heart of Artaban.
They had led him for a lifetime over land and sea, and now they came to him darkly and mysteriously like a message of despair. The king had arisen, but he had been denied and cast out.
The king was about to perish. Perhaps he was already dying. Could it be the same one who had been born in Bethlehem 33 years ago, at whose birth the star had appeared in the heavens, and of whose coming the prophets had spoken?
The ways of God are stranger than the thoughts of humans, and it may be that I shall find the king at last in the hands of his enemies, and shall come in time to offer my pearl for his ransom before he dies.
So Artaban, aged and bent with time and grief, followed the multitude with slow and painful steps toward the Damascus Gate of the city.
Just beyond the entrance to the guardhouse, a troop of Macedonian soldiers came down the street, dragging a young girl with a torn dress and disheveled hair.
Hey, let me go!
Get her!
Let go of me!
Grab her, quick!
As Artaban paused to look at her with compassion, she broke suddenly from the hands of her tormentors and threw herself at his feet, clasping him around the knees. She had seen his white cap and the winged circle of the Magi on his chest.
Have pity on me! Have pity on me! Save me, oh save me for the sake of God of purity. I am also a daughter of the true religion which is taught by the Magi. My father was a merchant of Parthia, but he is dead. And I am seized for his debts to be sold as a slave. Save me from this fate worse than death, I beg of you, my countrymen. Save me.
Artaban trembled.
It was the old conflict of his soul, which had come to him in the palm grove of Babylon and in the cottage at Bethlehem. The conflict between the expectation of faith and the impulse of love.
Twice the gift which he had consecrated to the worship of religion had been drawn from his hand to the service of humanity. This was the third trial. The final and irrevocable choice.
Was it his great opportunity or his last temptation? He could not tell. Only one thing was clear in the darkness of his mind. It was inevitable. And does not the inevitable come from God?
He took the pearl from under his cloak. Never had it seemed so luminous, so radiant, so full of tender, living luster. He laid it in the hands of the girl.
This is your ransom, daughter of Parthia. It is the last of my treasures, which I kept for the king.
God bless you, sir. God bless you.
Suddenly, the darkness of the sky thickened, and the shuddering tremors ran through the earth, heaving convulsively, like the breast of one who struggles with a mighty grief.
The walls of the houses rocked to and fro. Stones were loosened and crashed into the street. Dust clouds filled the air.
The soldiers fled in terror, reeling like drunken men. But Artaban and the slave girl he had ransomed crouched helpless beneath the wall of the Praetorium.
I'm so afraid. Aren't you afraid?
What have I to fear? What have I to live for?
I don't understand you. What do you mean?
I have given away the last remnant of my tribute for the king. I have parted with the last hope of finding him. My quest is over, and it has failed.
Failed?
Yes, failed. Yet even in that thought, accepted and embraced, I can find some sense of peace.
You mean resignation?
No, not resignation, not submission. It's something more profound and certain. I know that all is well because I have done the best I could from day to day.
What do you mean?
I have been true to the light that was given to me. And if I have not found the king, if failure is all that comes out of my life, doubtless this was the best that was possible. I have not seen the revelation of life everlasting, incorruptible, and immortal. But I also know that if I had to do it all over again, I would do the same things with the gifts for the king.
One more lingering pulsation of the earthquake quivered through the ground. A heavy tile, shaken from the roof, fell and struck Artaban on the temple.
Artaban lay breathless and pale, with his gray head resting on the young girl's shoulder and the blood trickling from the wound.
As she bent over him, fearing he was dead, there came a voice through the twilight, very small and still, like music sounding from a distance in which the notes are clear, but the words are lost.
The girl turned to see if someone had spoken from the window above them, but she saw no one there.
Artaban's lips began to move, as if in answer to the voice, and she heard him say in their native Parthian language,
Not so, my lord. For when did I see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? When did I see you as a stranger and took you in, or naked and gave you some clothes? When did I see you sick or in prison and came and ministered to you? For 33 years I looked for you, but I have never seen your face, nor ministered to you, my king.
Artaban ceased talking, and the sweet musical voice came again. And again, the wind heard it faintly and very far away. But now, it seemed as though the young girl actually understood what the voice was saying.
Truly, I say to you, inasmuch as you have done these things for the least of my brothers and sisters, you have done them to me.
A calm radiance of wonder and joy lighted the pale face of Artaban, like the first ray of dawn on a snowy mountain peak.
One long, last breath gently exhaled from his lips, and Artaban was still.
His journey was ended. His treasures were accepted.
Artaban, the other wise man, had finally found the king.